I'm coming out with a new series of high protein, low carb meals that you can make in minutes using this, a rotisserie chicken. In fact, most of the ingredients that you need for this recipe you can easily pick up at the grocery store on your way home from work. And with this one pot chicken and rice soup, you'll have dinner on the table in under 20 minutes, and all without having to use cauliflower rice, because I got something else up my sleeves for that that's also low carb. All the effort to make this recipe is really just gonna come in the beginning with some chopping and cutting. So you could save yourself the hassle and do all this prep work ahead of time, like on a Sunday before your work week starts, because you will need to dice up 1 onion, since we're gonna need around a cup of yellow diced up onion, and 1 cup of diced celery, along with 1 cup of diced carrot. Now, if you think that carrots are too high in carbs, you can certainly decrease the amount of carrot that goes into the soup, or you could just omit it altogether. But I really love that flavor of onion, celery, and carrots, so that's why I'm keeping it in this soup. Next, move on to the rotisserie chicken. I love grabbing rotisserie chicken at the store because it makes dinner so much easier. As soon as I get home, I can carve it up and portion out the meat, so I have cooked chicken ready to throw into meals all throughout the week. It's perfect for quick salads, wraps, soups, just like this one. Or you can just toss it in a skillet with some veggies, like another recipe I have coming out later on this month. Plus, the flavor is already there, so you really don't have to add much in terms of seasoning. And let's be real, having to cook one less thing from scratch is always a win. I developed this recipe to be a low-carb version of Panera Bread's chicken and wild rice soup, and I think I nailed it with a combination of seasonings, flavors, and my go-to keto rice, which is not cauliflower rice. Just like Element Electrolytes nailed it with their hydration formula, all in this electrolyte packet. Each packet has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. But what I love most about Element is that it's free from sugars and dyes and all those junk ingredients that we don't need in hydration. Plus, it comes in a wide range of flavors, so you can easily find one that suits your taste buds. My favorites are citrus, orange, and grapefruit, but I also love their chocolate salts because it's easy to make a low-carb hot chocolate that tastes delicious, and it's only 1 gram of carb per cup. Right now, Element's offering my viewers a free sample pack with any Element order. This is a great way to sample some of their flavors. If you want to get yours, go to drinkelement.com/KetoFocus. Now that my chicken is shredded, let's start making the soup. Start with 1 stick of salted butter. Remember, I said this was a low-carb copycat version of Panera Bread soup, so it's gonna be rich, it's gonna be flavorful, and it's gonna taste good. But if 1 stick of butter is too much for you, you can certainly decrease that amount. Once that's melted, add in the diced celery, onion, and carrots. Stir that over medium heat until it's almost tender. Then stir in a teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder, a half a teaspoon of oregano, and a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. Then for a thickener, instead of using flour, I'm using arrowroot powder, which is my go-to low-carb thickener. It's something I always have in my pantry. It actually has a greater thickening ability than regular all-purpose flour, so you don't have to add that much of it, so the carbs don't add up. Then pour in 1 cup of heavy cream and cook that until it's thickened, which will take around 2 to 3 minutes. Next, I pour in 4 cups of chicken broth, and I'm using chicken broth that I made in my slow cooker. If you want to learn how to make your own chicken bone broth, all you have to do is Google KetoFocus bone broth to find the most delicious recipe. It's so easy to cook it up in your slow cooker. You're going to wonder why you haven't been doing this all along. And now for the rice. I'm using a low-carb rice made out of lupini beans. The brand I use is by Kaizen. Lupini beans are a legume that is high in protein, and they're filled with fiber, so most of their carbs come from that fiber, which is why it makes a great low-carb option for rice and pastas. I get mine from Thrive Market and Amazon. I'm hoping one day my grocery store will start to carry it, but until then, I always keep this on hand just so I can make recipes like this. After you let this simmer on medium heat for around 6 to 10 minutes, the rice is gonna look like rice, and it's not gonna taste like cauliflower. Which, I mean, you could still use cauliflower if you didn't want to find the lupini rice, but it's so worth it. Stir in the cooked chicken from the rotisserie and season it with some more salt and pepper if you think it needs it. This creamy chicken and rice soup is so good, and you're probably gonna need something to soak up that delicious broth because you don't want that to go to waste. So for that, I use my famous keto roll recipe, which you can find by clicking right here.